Well, welcome to Hamilton County's Coach's Corner. I'm Perry Williams, and I know this is not football season, but we're going to talk a little bit of football because in Hamilton County this coming 2018 season, we're going to have three brand new head football coaches, and I'm interviewing one today, and John Kirschner, the new head coach at Hamilton Heights. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Well, let's get right into it and let's talk a little bit about it. You've been here this is your fourth year at teaching at Heights, is that
yes,
correct?
Sir. Mm-hmm.
Fourth year at teaching at Heights, and you helped Coach Street, so you were on that staff. Is that a big advantage becoming the head coach and after being an assistant as far as knowing the kids and everything?
No question. In multiple facets. I mean, if you look at whether it's coaching, teaching, I know the kids. I mean, I've had these football players in my class since, the 2B seniors. I coached almost all of them in 8th grade boys basketball my first year here. So when you talk about the relationships that I have with the kids, it's been a really, really easy transition because they know who I am on the field, they know who I am off the field, and they know what I'm going to expect of them. Which really has made it easy to really begin that transition. And then I've been working, I run the after school and before school weight programs as well. So pretty much in every aspect of what football entails, I'm already running that. I'm already there, so yeah, really easy transition for me.
Well, that's good. And the one thing about it is let's talk a little bit about, because, you know, come the fall, fans show up at the football game, but that, you know, sometimes they don't realize the dedication of the coaches and the athletes of the time that they put in the weight room and working out and going through all the grind of football. So let's kind of talk a little. I'd like to talk a little bit about, you know, I think May 29th is your day that you can start, you know, working with the kids, and I think it's up till sometime in July. So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that the kids are doing on their own now and working on, and then some of the things that's going to come up here in the summer months before we kick it off here in August.
A couple of things we're doing right now is 3 days a week we lift. It's either before school or after school. We're running about 40 kids, morning and afternoon combined. It's an athletic development program. You know, they're lifting and they're also working on agilities, speed, things like that. You know, and so they're doing that, like I said, 3 days a week. It's a full body routine. And then on Mondays and Wednesdays, after we get done with the agilities, we also have an open gym session where quarterbacks and wide receivers are coming in, catching and throwing. We got some offensive line that are working on basic footwork techniques. Just trying to get some of those, what I would call the cobwebs out. And it's great that we have the ability to even do that here in the state of Indiana. You know, where they just, you know, they come in, we give them the ball, and they go, and it's great. And I'm already, as I'm sitting back and I'm watching, I'm already seeing a lot of the, you know, our timing of the routes or throws are already getting better. So it's really been, we've been doing it for about 4 weeks now. It's really been beneficial, and so we'll continue that and it's just a half hour. 4:30 to 5 Monday, Wednesday. We'll continue that through the rest of the spring, and I'm hoping it pays some major dividends for us going into the summer and then obviously the fall.
Now, Coach, you know, this is going to be your first year and everything. One of the things, you know, coming back, you know, last year was a tough year for Hamilton Heights. You were 3-8, and it's actually was the first losing season since 2008. But the one thing that I know about Hamilton County and Hamilton Heights football, this community has a very strong passion for the game of football, and in fact, you can tell that because you've won in the last 10 years, won 70% of the football games. So, you know, it's expected here. It's something that people pack the football field every night, every week on Friday nights at home games, wanting to see a good product on the field. Last year you were, I said young and you said beyond young, and it was correct. You played a lot of young football players. A lot of those young players were in, you know, terminology, the skilled positions, but I'm not sure that football's a team game, okay, on
Sure.
both sides of the ball, so you have to have skill everywhere. But your quarterbacks, your running backs, your receivers, and everything. So let's talk a little bit about them and the progress that you think some of them are making coming up here.
Well, you said skilled positions. You name me a position, and there's a kid coming back. Whether it's a 2B senior or 2B junior, they're a lot of them are multiple sport athletes. So they're constantly going, they're constantly working. I'm seeing a lot of growth physically, especially the juniors, and I've been really pleased with the skilled kids, the juniors who are now going to be seniors. They've really, really stepped it up, because a lot of them are in the weight room, and they've really stepped it up, and I've seen several of them really begin to develop physically. Their strength, their speed, and agility, I've seen a big difference there. And it's really, so really overall, both classes, I'm really excited. I think we have two groups of skilled kids who have really become, all at both levels, potential varsity players this year. And I think that's really going to benefit us. Some played last year, and they'll be able to bring those guys along. But the off-season development, and since I've taken over, they've all really bought in. They're all there. They all, not every one of them, but there's a good nucleus of those juniors who played some last year, and those sophomores who played last year. They're all there. They're all working together, and I think that's really going to pay dividends for us. They're in the weight room, and they're at open gyms. So even though we talk about skills, we got some young linemen who are really going to – we got a couple senior linemen who are going to be, I think, really going to be players for us. And we also have some young linemen who are going to have to step up, and I think they're really doing some things right now that is going to prepare them to properly step up in the fall.
Yeah, because really, when you look at last year's team, probably on the O-line and the D-line, that's where you probably lost the most as far as seniors. But
no question.
Every other position, you're pretty well set. There were some positions where you were playing sophomores and juniors all the time. There wasn't any seniors in the group.
At one point last year, we had a junior, 3 sophomores at the wide receivers. We had a quarterback who was a junior or a sophomore, and we had running backs all year that were sophomores, for the most part, at the varsity level. That's a big deal. And they played defense, too.
Yeah. That's a one, people don't realize there's a lot of difference between 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A, all the classes and everything. But the one thing in 3A, like you said, you have a lot of athletes that are multi-sport athletes, okay? And in my mind, even the era I was brought up in, that's the way it was, okay? And I think it's a good thing.
For sure.
Because, there's a lot of, better than I do, there's a lot of studies out there that those multi-sport athletes sometimes have less injuries because of using different muscles and all that type of thing. So let's talk a little bit about coming up here 2018. You're going to, obviously you'll be going to be working out in July. You take, I guess, is it a week off? Or?
We do have our moratorium week, pretty much July 4th week.
Yeah. And then
that'll be our 1 week off.
Then you come back and you start hitting it pretty hard.
We are. First couple weeks back from July, we kind of ease back into it. We're not going to be practicing per se. Now we're going to hit the weights and we're going to hit the conditioning real hard three days a week in the first couple weeks of July. And then that last week of July, we are going to have a team camp. And that's going to start our season. And we're going to start that Tuesday, and we're going to have 4 days straight of practice, and we are rolling.
Are you having a team camp here at Heights? Or?
We're going to do everything in-house this summer.
Okay.
We're gonna have a team camp at the end of June. That last week before moratorium, we got 4 days of there, and then we're gonna run a second team camp that last week of July. We're just, essentially, if you want to call it, we're starting a season a week early, I guess.
Yeah. Staff about the same, or
we are going to have we have a good nucleus of staff members coming back. There was 2 positions that opened. Obviously, mine did open, right. And then we did have another coach who did decide to step aside, but he actually became our head girls golf coach, so he's still in the township.
Yeah, sure.
So that's great. It's, we're really happy for him. He loves golf. That's his passion, and it's good for him. He's running with it. So we have a couple positions open that have not been filled yet. So we're still looking at that. I'm hoping to get that done within the next week, and then I can really start rolling in terms of what the staff's going to be.
Sounds good. Of course, last year was the first year that you played in the Hoosier Conference. Is that correct, or was it the year before?
It was the year before.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the year before.
So it's a relatively new conference,
It's a tough conference.
but it's a lot tougher conference than what you were in before.
No question.
Okay, because in the old conference, there was about 2 or 3 teams at the top, and that was about it every year after year.
And they're still with us.
Yeah, and then those ones at the bottom were not so good. So you're in a new conference now. Schedule-wise this year, of course, you're playing in the Hoosier Conference. And then you want to talk a little bit about that first game, because I think that's kind of near and dear to your heart a little bit.
So, yes, the first game this year, we open up with Mount Vernon at home. As some may know, my father has Mike Kirschner, who was formerly the head football coach at Ben Davis, took the Mount Vernon job. And so for the first time, this is my first time I've coached against him. When I was an assistant coach at North Central, and I was 0-4 against him there. But this is the first time that I've ever been a head coach where he's the head coach and coached against him in that. So there's a lot of it's not when we talk, it used to be one of those things I would always ask him for advice on things and this and that. But one of the things now, it's like I kind of have to tippy-toe around when I start talking schemes and offense and defense. I've had to tippy-toe. Like, we went on spring break together, and I'm talking to him. We're sitting down on the beach in Florida, and we're talking about this, and we're talking about that. But I'm like, well, yeah, here's this. We're thinking about that, but I don't want to give him too much because he may act that he's not listening, but he'd use it. I mean, he's going to win, and he's going to do what he has to do to win. And so I understand that. So it's kind of a fun atmosphere, but there is a little tension right now. We jokingly said that if my wife and I have jokingly said multiple times that if we lose, then he doesn't get to see his grandson for 6 months. So he's like, well, that's a lose-lose situation for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he wants to see me get my first win as a head coach, but at the same time, he goes,
he doesn't want it to be against him.
He doesn't want it to be against me, and he needs to win too because he's at a new job. So no, it's going to be a fun atmosphere. Like I said, like I told you before we started, I got family that are coming in from at least North Carolina, if not Virginia as well. Possibly Georgia, and I've got family coming in from Michigan that I know for sure. There's going to be a lot of people there. It's going to be fun. All 4 of my grandparents are coming to watch the game, so I think that's really neat to have that. So it's going to be a fun atmosphere. Very tense, but it's going to be a fun one.
But the one thing that I've learned in seeing this happen before in people's career, once the game starts, I mean, you're doing your job, and your dad will be doing his job, so it's got to roll. So it's not really,
oh yeah.
So, but the hoopla before and after will be a fun time, and that's great. We were talking about earlier, and you mentioned you thought West Lafayette was going to be good. Western's always good, and you got Northwestern, and then right up the road here, Tipton. There's no love lost. I mean, in any sport at any time, the Hamilton Heights Huskies and the Tipton Blue Devils do not mix well.
No, they're a big rival for us, and I found that out the first year I came. I mean, that was one of the first things I was told was beat Tipton.
Yeah,
that was the game, and it's been a fun rivalry. The last year they got the best of us. They were good last year.
Yo, absolutely.
I mean, they could throw that ball around, and I mean, they were good. They're well coached, and they're well coached. They're well disciplined. They're good at what they do.
I think they finished 9-2 last season.
They did finish 9-2, and I think second or third round of the tournament is where they got knocked out, and it was, I think, pretty sure, a fairly close game. Ended up losing to, was it Western Boone?
Yeah.
And then Western Boone won the sectional.
Yeah.
So, when Western Boone was a really legitimate team last year as well.
Absolutely.
So, we're not. Yeah, our schedule on our side of the conference or non-conference games are not an easy sell by any means.
And then
a tough road.
And then you go into to tournament time, and you're in sectional 26, which Brebeuf last year was a state runner-up, okay,
Right.
and they're in that. And, you know, you and I were talking before because I got the stats here is in 2016 they were 4-6, and they go the next year and go to the state championship final. So, you know, anything can happen, and you could
Oh, no
turn around a
question.
program and
Sure you can.
and things like that. So this ought to be really, really fun.
Oh, I'm really excited. You know, like I said, if the effort and the work that we're putting in right now continues, I think I'm expecting big things from us this year.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule here at Hamilton Heights and talking a little bit of football. And, of course,
Oh,
it's
I
football
enjoyed it.
weather out there. So
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I walked out to go feed my animals this morning, and at 5:30, and they're just getting hit in the face with snowflakes.
Yeah, so it's really kind of football weather. So, but I'm excited about this season, excited about having new coaches, and we're taking a look, planning on broadcasting Hamilton County TV here, that first game at Mount Vernon. That'll be exciting, and we enjoy doing it for you here, and we enjoy coming up here because the fans are very, very passionate. I mean, you have some loyal, passionate fans that know the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the one great thing that you've coached at North Central, you've been to Ben Davis. You know, you can look out in those stands, and there's people that have been coming to Hamilton Heights Husky games longer than you probably are, as far as age-wise.
I've talked to some of them.
Yeah. So they love the game. They love sports up here, and they love this school. So it's a fun play. It's a fun place to be.
It is, and that's where I'm here, and I want to. You know, my wife and I, we love the community. We can do everything in the community.
Absolutely.
We want to have our son's going to go here, so hopefully one day.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I can't deny that. This community is great.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate you taking time out to talk with us. And this is Perry Williams from Hamilton County TV Coaches Show. And I'll probably see you next week because I think that I'll be interviewing Adam Morris at Hamilton Southeastern. And I touched base today with Justin Roden today at the new Noblesville coach. And we're going to set up so we'll have some more of these before school's out.